Last summer, my 3 little boys decided to have their first ever lemonade stand. As a mom, I wanted to teach them not only about entrepreneurship, but also about charity. We picked an organization where the kids decided they were going to sponsor a 5-year-old Indonesian boy living in extreme poverty. We went down to the kitchen, we got our water, we got our pitcher, we got the ice, we got the lemons, we got the big wooden spoon, and we were ready to go. We loaded everything up into the big red wagon, marched to the field in front of our house, ready to have a great day with the lemonade stand. Everyone had a role. Ben, the 6-year-old, manned the cash register. Jonathan, the 2-year-old, was the official taste tester. He had a lot of lemonade that day. And William, the 4-year-old, was the official greeter. Things were going so well. And then 2 police officers showed up. William, the greeter, ran up to the officers with a huge smile on his face. "Lemonade?" he asked them. Soon his smile turned into a frown. When the police officers told us they were not there to buy lemonade, they were there to shut us down due to a complaint and lack of permits. What? Permits? My kids had never even heard of permits. And I thought back to my own lemonade stands as a child. I never once needed a permit for a lemonade stand. This was crazy. Sadly, with heavy hearts, we loaded up our stuff and we walked home. Opened up that front door, and all 3 kids burst into tears. They had so many questions. What had just happened? What's a permit? Why were the police there? Why were we shut down? Help us, Mom. As a mom, I wanted to help, but I didn't know how. My mama bear instinct kicked in. I thought about posting on Facebook, ranting and raving about what had happened, and then I thought, no good will come from that. So instead, with a sigh, we went to bed. At 4 a.m. the next morning, I awoke almost as if something had ignited inside of me, like an internal switch had gone from inaction to action. I thought about the local news and how they say if you have something that you would like us to investigate, contact us. So as I'm lying there in my bed, I take my phone, I type a couple sentences of what had happened, put my phone down, and went back to bed. At 5 a.m., the phone rings. It's the local news station. They asked if they could be at our house at 7 a.m. I said, okay. Keep in mind, I am not a morning person. But to get 3 little boys up, fed, camera ready is not an easy thing. But we did it, as we had a lot of questions that we wanted answers to. Before we knew it, our story had gone viral. By Friday of that week, we were on our first live national news show talking about what had happened. Thankfully, it was on really early in the morning, as it was a live feed to New York City. We were all half asleep. We didn't have time to process or think about or get nervous of what was happening. From there, the community came together with tremendous support. A local radio station invited us on to have lemonade stand at the radio station. Local businesses invited us to have lemonade stands in front of their businesses. The organization we were raising money for invited us to their headquarters for a second chance lemonade stand. The entire community came out, and people were literally lined up around the building, around the parking lot, not only to support my boys, but to support lemonade stands and the charity. And in just a few short weeks, my boys has raised over $8,000 for charity. Amazing. From there, I created a platform called Lemonade Stand Mama with the intention of seeing if we could get the laws changed in Denver around permits in kids' lemonade stands. You see, I'm a change person. I have a PhD in organizational learning, performance, and change. And I thought, if this had to happen to anybody, I'm glad this happened to our family because I had a few tools in my toolkit to help with change. But still, it was hard. We had to be vulnerable. Putting yourself out there in the public spotlight is not an easy thing to do. People who I thought were my friends stopped talking to me, completely iced me out. Other people were talking behind my back. Everyone had an opinion, and they weren't all favorable. Before I knew it, CNN headline news producer called and asked if we could go speak on CNN live, all 5 of us, during the afternoon, right during my 2-year-old's typical nap time. I said yes. But as I'm sitting there, got the earpiece in my ear, the camera on, I've got Jonathan, the 2-year-old, firmly on my lap. I put a little car in his hand, hoping for that couple-minute segment that everything would be okay. And as I'm talking live, Jonathan on my lap decides he wants to get down. He's literally trying to get off my lap. And then he speaks into my microphone for everybody to hear. Mama, get down. Mama, get down. Talk about a nail-biting experience, putting yourself out there, being vulnerable. We also had the opportunity to be on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. I remember as the article was coming out, I went into the office, I turned on the computer, I saw the article, and then I saw the comments section. They were trollers saying really hurtful things about me, about my family. So many of them were looking at this picture, and they were making untrue assumptions about us based on a picture, and then writing really hateful things. It hurt. I thought about giving up. Why am I doing this? Is it really worth it? And then I thought about my 3 little boys looking up at their mom. If I quit now, what kind of message would that send to them? I had to keep going. Even journalists were trying to get us to be negative. So many of them asked me, what did you think of the police officers who shut you down? What did you think about the person who complained about you? And I never once took the negativity bait. And when I wouldn't give them the negative answers they were looking for, so many times they asked my 6-year-old son the same questions. Thankfully, we never took that bait. It's almost like walking along a tightrope. here you are walking along. The change that you want to see is on the other end of a tightrope. And as you're walking along, there's all kinds of negativity darts trying to shoot you down. But the trick is to stay positive and being focused on that change you want to see. In addition to being vulnerable, I also had to positively persevere. I remember a few days after our lemonade stand got shut down, I was on the phone with my local city council member, asking him if he wanted to work with me to get the laws changed around kids' lemonade stands and permits. And initially he said, yes, I would love to work with you. And then weeks went by and I didn't hear anything. Finally, I talked to him again, and he says, you know what, Jennifer? Just sit quiet. We're working on it. If someone tells me to sit quiet, I get louder. It's almost like that movie, Dirty Dancing, when no one puts baby in the corner. Well, no one puts Jennifer, Mama Bear, lemonade stand mama, in the corner. So I found a different way. I found a different city councilman who was a grandfather, and he wanted to see his grandkids be able to have a lemonade stand legally in Denver. So all summer long, my boys and I met him for coffee, and we strategized on how we can make this law happen. In addition, I took the CBS This Morning news crew along with my boys to Denver City Council, where I spoke at the public forum. And sure enough, we got the laws changed in Denver. Kids can now have lemonade stands in Denver without permits legally. Yes. I could have stopped there, but I positively persevered. I found a local state representative who partnered with me, and together we created a bill called Legalizing Minors' Businesses. And essentially, what this bipartisan bill would do would be to create entrepreneurship opportunities for all kids in the state of Colorado on a part-time basis without the bureaucratic barriers. But even this bill had criticism. So many people said, this is a waste of taxpayers' money, this is a waste of our lawmakers' time, there are more important issues to worry about. And my response was, there is nothing more important than supporting our kids, the future of our country, building them up, supporting entrepreneurship, creativity, and not stifling them. So we moved forward, and amazing kids, entrepreneurial kids from across the state of Colorado came to the Capitol to testify. And on April 1st, 2019, the governor of Colorado signed the bill into law. And what's so great about this bill is it creates equity, an equal playing field for all kids across the state. I could have stopped there, but I positively persevered. I connected with Kraft Heinz Country Time Lemonade, and I partnered with them to help create a nationwide campaign called Legalizing Lemonade Stands. And the intention of this campaign would be to have other cities and states across the country model work after the bills that we had launched and done in Denver and the state of Colorado. And sure enough, just a few months after this campaign has been launched, the state of Texas and the state of Tennessee have legalized lemonade stands in their states. In addition, Washington, D.C. is currently modeling the bill after Denver, and other states, New York, New Jersey, Minnesota, and others are also considering similar legislation. A movement has begun. A couple weeks ago, I was at a music festival, and there were kids having lemonade stands, kids selling snow cones, others had made keychains and they were walking around selling them. A year ago, this would have been illegal. Now, kids can do this freely. I did this. In my research on women and leadership and parenthood, I talked to hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals, and one message comes consistently through: that we have the power within us to do great things, but all too often, what stops us is taking that first step forward. So many of us say, I'm only one person, I can't make a difference. And I'm here to say, yes, you can. "5280 Magazine," a local Denver magazine, named me a 2019 disruptor. Someone who changes the face of how we look at things. I am no different than anybody else. I am just someone who woke up at 4 a.m., that internal switch ignited from inaction to action. I stayed on that tightrope, envisioning that change I wanted to see. I stayed vulnerable. I positively persevered, transforming sour lemons into sweet change. Thank you.